I was just like, what? And I was just like, this is a lot. Hello, it's Tiffany from mellowvybes, and I'm recording this video on a total whim. But if you're joining me and you haven't been here before, just know that my channel is to help introspective, creative, artistic, spiritual, freedom seekers live the life that they want to live, develop and share their gifts, become more aware. Self-awareness is key, and develop better relationships with other people and with themselves. So this video, I wanted to do like a story time. I haven't done one in a while, and I really didn't know if I was even going to do a video this week. I think it was just last week where I'm just like, I'm starting school, and so we'll see if I keep up with this routine. And yeah, and I really was like not feeling it at all. I was actually going to end up doing like a travel montage of one of my trips that I haven't put up yet, but then that's honestly a lot more work than just like talking to the camera. So yeah, so I'm like, let me just do a story time. I didn't really know which I wanted to really talk about, but I will talk about this particular story about this. I'm calling it like my date with a lumberjack. He was not a lumberjack. I don't remember what he actually did. I can't remember, but I didn't actually like write it. I try to like outline what I'm going to say. This is, like I said, on a whim, because I was really like, I totally fell asleep super early today. I did one of my jobs, and then I was like, let me just take a little nap and get to work on my other stuff. I was going to work on the video and then do my homework since I started school this week. And then I slept for like 2.5 hours, and I just feel like drained. And I don't know if it's the school or it's the combination of school and like the fact that my sister came here yesterday and she was sick. So maybe she's passing something along. But anyway, we'll just talk and I'll try to make it quick. This date was honestly one of the oddest dates I've ever had in my life. And it was also a point of where I really was like aware of what I wanted and what was okay when I was dating and what wasn't. And this was the first date that I ever had on Valentine's Day. And it was Valentine's Day 2019. And it was the person who I was going out with, it was his birthday. And so he came up or down or up, I can't remember in relation, like what area the Cape is. He lived in the Cape. From those who are not from New England, it's Cape Cod. And so we met at a Thai restaurant. So I love Thai food, and there was a Thai restaurant just maybe like a 10-minute walk from my apartment. And I was just like, this is perfect, convenient. We'll meet here. And I met him through Coffee Meets Bagel, which was pretty much the only dating app I used until I tried Hinge for like a week. And so he was cool. I talked to him for a period of time, and we decided to go out and blah, blah, blah. And on the date, it was just like, I was like, it was just so strange. Like, he wasn't really talking about anything. So then when I would try to like push the conversation along, like I would ask him, I think I asked him something like, oh, have you seen something? But I was going somewhere with that. It was just, I wanted to know if he had seen it so then I could explain something and why that was, important or blah, blah, blah. But he was just like, no. And then da da da, and then went off on something else. And it's just like, it's like, do you like, he did this so many times where he like totally switched what I was trying to start talking about, or where he would just like cut me off and talk over me. And I was just like, are you kidding? Like, this guy has no like self-awareness. Like, this is not okay. um and then when he wasn't like, because like I said, he didn't really initiate anything. It would be like when I started something, then he took it somewhere else. So I didn't even finish my point. And so when he wasn't rambling about whatever he veered the topic to, then he was just like sitting and staring at me. And I was just like, oh, why are you looking at me like that? He's like, oh, you're just so beautiful. And I was like, okay. And I just remember sitting there, like pinching myself, pinching my leg under the we were in a booth, and just pinching myself under the table, like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Like, cause I, like, when he would drift to whatever, I'm pinching myself so I could stay present. I normally don't have a problem with that. I am an active listener. I have to be. I'm a life coach and a hypnotherapist and whatever. And so um, the fact that I was like drifting was like sign number one. and, and I just remember sitting there like, oh my gosh, like, why can't I be out with such and such right now? Because there was a guy that had gone out with 3 days prior on my first date with him, and I really liked him. I didn't expect to really like him, but I really, really liked him. And I was like, Dad, I wish I was out with him right now. And so, because he knew I was going on this date, because I had went out with him, and then we were talking, we were talking about like if we were seeing other people, talking to other people, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yeah, I have this date, tomorrow, but I don't necessarily want to go on it because I really liked you, but I'm not going to cancel because it's the dude's birthday. And yeah. So I was just like, man, I wish I was with him. So what that taught me was like, just like really what to look for, what was like something that wasn't okay. Like, I can't stand when people do that. I've encountered a few people who do that, not just on dates, but like just in friendships, who you're talking to them and they just totally flip it to something that is just completely about them, or about like something else that was just like, can you just listen to me first? Like, I'm the one who started talking. Can you just let me finish? So self-awareness on my part with what was okay for me and what wasn't. And also like the awareness that you have to have when you're dating somebody. So like, do you have these, like, do you do those things? Like, because it's not pleasant to have conversations with people who do that. And so anyway, we did the Thai food, and then he's like, oh, do you want to go somewhere else? And truthfully, I really wanted to go home. uh I feel like, see, this would be, if this were any other day, I probably would have been like, no, I'm just gonna go home. But I felt like because it was like him spending his birthday with me, then I was just like, okay. So we ended up like going to, there was I can't remember what the places were called, but anyway, there's this bar that's literally on the other side of my apartment building, and it was connected to a comedy club and then a restaurant. Well, it was a bar and restaurant, and it was connected to the comedy club, and like a pizza shop or whatever. So, oh, because he was, okay, so he was like a aspiring comedian, and so he wanted to see the comedy club, but stuff had just like ended. Oh, first of all, before we got there, so how did we get there? I got in his car. I could have walked again. It's like, but he's there. So anyway, he's like, yeah, let's drive over there, blah, blah, blah. His whole thing was, oh, what he was dressed in, he had like a lumberjack shirt on. He had lumberjack shoes. I didn't even know they had lumberjack shoes. Like the print, like the red and black checkered print. I didn't even know they had shoes like that. Lumberjack shoes, lumberjack shirt. It was winter, obviously, so we went outside. He was wearing a lumberjack hat, all the same pattern. Got into his car, lumberjack seat covers, steering wheel, floor mat. I was just like, what? And I was just like, this is a lot. And he's like, it's just my thing or whatever. And I was like, okay, like everything. I was like, this is highly bizarre. So we did go to the bar first. I was connected to the comedy club. We went there. We had a drink. So I remember it was like the super high percentage beer that he tried that was there. And I had like a cocktail. And so, no, I had wine. And then he had this really high percentage beer. And so he wanted to go to the comedy space. And then they had just finished the show. And he was like, oh no, we missed it, blah, blah, blah. And he was like drunk off of that one beer. Because it was maybe like, I mean, I drank wine, so I'm like, a beer that's like, I think it was like 14%. It was like, whatever, like you drink wine that's 14, 15%. But anyway, he was getting a little tipsy and he was getting loud, and he walked in, like people were cleaning up in the comedy space, and he was just saying something that was just like, it was just loud and obnoxious. And then we circled through, because like it was like this bar, restaurant, comedy club, then the pizza spot. So we kind of walked through, and then after, he's like, where are we going next? And I was just like, oh my gosh, like I just want to go home. I was like, well, the beer garden is right there. And so we went to the beer garden, and then we had another drink. He was talking about like random stuff that I just really didn't care about, like how the girl that he went to high school with was Shaquille O'Neal's new girlfriend, and all this stuff. And I was just like, okay, And then I was just like, okay, it's time to go. Like I really should go home now. I don't know what time it was, but whatever. And so then he drove me to my apartment. It was really just around the corner. And he's like, okay, he opened the door for me and was like, oh, I'm gonna give you a hug. And he's like, oh, like I should come up for a while. I'm like, no, 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 you shouldn't. He's like, oh, I could give you a massage, even though it's my birthday, so you should be giving me a massage. And I was just like, no, I'm just gonna go to sleep, but thanks. I hope you had a good time on your birthday. Because I brought him like a cupcake too. There's like this really popular cupcake shop that was across from my office, and so I got him that, and he was like, no one's ever done something like that for me. That's so sweet. And yeah, so he was like giving me this really long hug, and then he like picked me up and spun me around, and I was just like, okay. And he's like, oh, can I have a kiss? I was like, no, I don't kiss on the first date. And then he literally is like moved his head to try, and I swerved. I was just like, yo, like and so I went in, I was just like, oh my gosh, that was like the freaking most bizarre and uncomfortable date ever. Is like he wasn't taking any cues at all about his behavior and about like what I said I was not going to do. Like he was really trying to be like, no, but I could come up, and I'm like, no, you can't. So yeah, awareness. So hopefully this lets you think and reflect on like how you are when you're dating people, because there were so many things that just were not cool. I remember being so excited because I'm just like, I never actually had a date like on Valentine's Day, and I was like, and this is what I get. It's all cool. It's all good though, because the next Valentine's Day that I had, which was of this year, which is insane. This year seems like forever. People talk about 2020 being slow. 2021 was the slowest year ever. It's the slowest year ever. Like I just can't wrap my mind around the fact that all this stuff that happened in my personal life was this year. It's getting engaged and stuff. Like, so Valentine's Day was a week before I got engaged, and so like that was a really good Valentine's Day. So let me know about any kind of like weird dating experiences you've had. I said I wanted to talk a little bit more about relationship stuff, dating and all that stuff, because I've had a lot of experiences with dating. It's like a lot and a little at the same time. I don't know. But yeah, I think this, for me, this was a huge lesson. This whole date was a huge lesson in awareness in mine, and what was like markers for me that of what I would want or not want in somebody, and like awareness on like, or lack of awareness on his part as well. And the next person I did go out with, because I went out with the guy that I had liked, but then that didn't work out. We went out a few times, and then I went out with somebody like right after that didn't work out, like maybe a week after, and it was like not the same thing, because I actually like, we could actually have a good conversation, and he was not, he didn't do the whole over talking thing, and he was very a listener, and we had a good conversation. We had a lot, more things in common, but it was still like I was drifting still, and like I found myself pinching myself again. So like I was like, oh, I wish I was, because I was like bummed that it didn't work out with the other guy. So I was like, man, I wish I was, with him. And so yeah, when I start to drift, it's like I know that's not a situation I need to be in. When I start to drift, it's that's a telltale sign. That's what I was looking for. It's like a sign. A telltale sign is when I just start to drift um, during a date. And yeah, haven't had that experience with my fiance, obviously, or we wouldn't be engaged. But yeah, again, let me know about your dating experiences, any things that you've picked up, or um, a situation that made you more aware about what was a deal breaker for you or not, or what was like a sign that it was or wasn't going to work. All right. I will see you on the next video. Peace and mellow vibes.